Well, what a fantastic panel lineup we have here for you to kickstart day 2 here on the Air Mobility stage. Thank you so much. Fantastic presentation. And as I mentioned, the perfect way to get into this. Conor, I'm going to start off with you.
Sure.
You were mentioned, of course, in the presentation there, especially when it comes to certification, of course, as well. So Ehang is the first eVTOL company in the world that has obtained the type certificate, airworthiness certificate, and production certificate as well. Tell us a little bit more about your value proposition to your customer and maybe a little bit more about Ehang for those that might not be aware.
Right. Our mission is really want to create a new way of transportation for human beings, right? Look at cars, even the traditional EV car versus the gasoline car, they didn't change the way of people travel. But imagine that if everyone can take a eVTOL as your like a flying cars, right? That would be very, very different. It's a brand new way of transportation. So for that we obtained the first type certificate, in the eVTOL sector in the world, and we place safety at the utmost priority. So safety is extremely important. So in our design that we have flew over 48,000 times since our inception. So we have gathered a huge amount of data, and during those tests, we have identified any key components that if any component fail, then will cause very bad consequences. So we have all our eVTOL that we have a redundancy design. So it means, for example, you can see on the entrance of this exhibition hall, eVTOL, we have 8 arms with 16 propellers. Not only 16 propellers, but we have 16 motors. So anyone, actually randomly, you can pick any 3 that out of work during the flight. You can safely, we can still safely land it. Yeah. Many of you maybe have seen our demonstration yesterday afternoon. You can see the very stable, takeoff and fly and land. So the redundancy design is the key important factor of our aircraft. And then secondly is the autonomous driving. Think about that. If this is a part of the transportation, if on the sky in the same time, hundreds or thousands of eVTOL flying in the same time, if every eVTOL has a pilot inside, that would be very dangerous. Yeah. So in our design that autonomous, we believe that is the ultimate format of public transportation for eVTOL, that we should not have a pilot inside, but and it make it more efficient. For example, our eVTOL, if it's used for tourist purpose, right? You can imagine as a passenger, you sit on our eVTOL and you have, no one in front of you, no pilot in front of you. You want to take a picture, it's very, very clear. So autonomous is one of the key important factors. Among the global peers so far, we were the first one that with autonomous driving on the eVTOL side. And thirdly is the fleet management. So in our system, we have on the ground central command and control system that will enable that to operate mass number of eVTOL in the same time. So as I said, think about that. If there's 1,000 of eVTOL flying in the sky, you gotta have a central command and control system to prevent any collisions. Yeah, so this is very important. Many of you may have seen the so-called drone shows. There are thousands of little drones flying in the sky with like a Happy New Year, Happy Christmas, things like that on the sky. And actually, Ehang was the first company that invented this business model, and we still kept the world record of 4,000-5,000 drone show on the sky. So same way of management that we can manage our eVTOL. So all these that provide a great value for our customers. And also lastly, the very important factor is the price. Our eVTOL right now is selling at $410,000 per aircraft. Compared with global peers, which is minimum from $3 million per unit to maybe $10 million per unit. So what now will ultimately translate into the ticket price, right? If you are paying the ticket, so our goal is to make it very affordable for everyone, for the public, not just purely as a collection for rich people. Yeah.
And that's what one of the panels was saying yesterday. You know, they've got to break down this misconception that this is just for the rich. This is going to be for public adoption. So it's it's very important to get the pricing right. It's also public perception. The drones are a really nice way actually to get into this and to try and explain it to people because, we have drone shows all the time, especially across the UAE as well. So really, really interesting to see how it's all going to play out. I'd like now to head on over to Alberto very quickly, just before we head on over to you. Let's talk a little bit more about 5G and IoT when it comes to the design and how this is going to be integrated and what value that brings to the low altitude economy. Tell us what we need to know.
Okay. Good morning. First of all, thank you to DriftX and MLG for inviting me to this panel. Well, when it comes to 5G, I would say that without connectivity, you cannot fly drones. You cannot have autonomous vehicles. So there is a foundation layer of the connectivity. So now this connectivity is evolving as the technology is evolving. And in 5G, what is important is not just another evolution of the 4G. It's more than that, because 5G is designed to address some of the use cases that are happening right now in smart cities and mobility. And let me elaborate a little bit more. So 5G has key components to enable these ecosystems. One of these is for of course the bandwidth, the speed of the transmission of the information that can go up to 10 gigabits per second. But another one that is very important is the latency. Latency is the delay in transmitting the messages. So from one drone to a platform. And this can be done in between 1 millisecond to 10 milliseconds compared to today 50 milliseconds, 60 milliseconds. And this is a big thing. Why? So let me put you an example. For example, so if you are driving a car, there is an incident, the time to react to that incident for a human being is 100 milliseconds. So you have to brake, so you take 100 milliseconds to react to that on average. So you have an autonomous car, so if the delay of the machine of sending the message and coming back is around 1 to 10 milliseconds, so in 20 milliseconds maximum, so the car will react. So this is something that will save lives, right? So this is another component that is very important, not only for land, for air, because the drones, when it comes to today, we have few drones flying, but tomorrow we'll have thousands of them flying, right? So this will be very important, the communication between the drone to drone and between the drone to the air traffic control, or air traffic management system. The third one is slicing, what we call slicing. And with 5G, what we can do is to create a specific mobile networks to different sectors or different use cases. So in this case, we can create a mobile network, a virtual mobile network, only for drones, for example, only for autonomous cars. So, and this means that we can apply different rules, quality of service, and then the network is going to be much more reliable and it's going to be much more customized for this type of use cases, right? So, and you were asking me about the IoT. IoT is embedded in all of this because at the end, the sensors are today embedded in the cars. A normal car today have many sensors. In the smart cities, in buildings, we have many sensors. In the drones, there are a lot of sensors that are sending the information to the central platform. So IoT is embedded today in multiple use cases in the mobility space and the smart city, and it will grow. So there is a research that there will be IoT will be a market of around $14 trillion by next year, right? So it's a big market.
Yeah, huge market there. We've got quite an international audience here. Can you very quickly just tell us a little bit about Ehang as well? Because I'm not sure that, because we have this international audience with us, just very quickly about Ehang.
Well, Ehang, formerly Etisalat, is the main telecom operator, not only in UAE, but also in the MENA region. So we are operating in more than 20 countries. And we have mobile, we have LAN services, fixed connectivity, but not only that. So I am not in the telecom vertical, let's say. I am in Ehang Enterprise. That is a unit that we created 9 years ago to put services on top of the connectivity. And that's why I'm leading the IoT and AI vertical, and we have other verticals as an evolution of a telco to the digital space and to the digital world.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Haiyan, back over to you. Now, of course, you are a very big investor in the eVTOL sector. And the investment company that you work for invested, in fact, in Ehang about 3 years ago, well before it got these certifications, right? So, and you still remain their top investor today. So why did you at first decide to invest in Ehang? What sort of captured?
Thank you, Laura, for this question. It was, in fact, my smallest investment among all my investment in China, but it's the most exciting, most fun as well, because thanks to Ehang, I'm here today. We remain top investor because at that time, even before Ehang was quite far from type certification, I saw many elements which convinced me. So it's about the technology, the product, which are extensively explained by Conor already. So I not really explain because for me, in that space, you don't really buy a Ferrari or Porsche. You need to address the mass market, right? What I was looking for is Volkswagen in the air. They can sell a lot at very affordable price. You know that Ehang 216 cost is only $400K US dollars. It's very cheap.
Yeah.
So operators can buy their drones and they can make money very quickly, you know. But if your drone, your plane costs 5 million, 10 million US dollars, you cannot really promote it, right? So from the very beginning, I think they had a very great positioning. So it's affordable, it's safe, it's autonomous. You know that 80% of the helicopter accidents are caused by human mistakes, right? So it's from the right beginning, it's about autonomous. So I like this. Then I like the team. Many Ehang colleagues are here to attend the Drift X. It's a very small company that you know that they sent a team over 15 people, 15. And I discussed with nearly all of them during my past contact with them. I said, okay, your salaries are very low. It's much lower than the sector average. So Conor, you need to increase their salaries in the future, you know, when the money will come in. But they are so motivated. I said, why you are not leaving Ehang? They said, we are working for common dream. And even one young boy, he told me, he said, I should have done something good in my past life to be able to work with Ehang today. So I was so touched by what they said, you know. So the whole team and the founder is a genius, and he has many other very innovative products in his portfolio. I can't announce anything because it's up to him, but very, very amazing. Okay, so it's why I invested $40 million US dollars at that time, and we increased the position. And I'm very, very excited by the potential of Ehang still today, more than before.
We've obviously got a very, very good eye for investments because some of the technology and innovation really, really is impressive. Back over to you, Conor. Now, as Haiyan was saying, you know, well, it sort of seems that people are a lot more forgiving when it's human error, because I suppose we've all been in that situation. You understand the stress. So if there is an accident, human error, it's a lot, you know, people forgive it. But when it comes to technology, people aren't so forgiving. So what do you think it's going to take to successfully integrate eVTOL into everyday life and into the main transport system? And sort of what impact is this also going to have on the overall low altitude economy as well?
Right. You say very correctly that integrating to everyone's daily life. So that means, integrating to part of the public transportation system, right? So you can see that today, globally, there are lots of peers doing eVTOL. As we mentioned earlier, our selling price is the most competitive. We are selling at about 10 to 15% of our global peers. So that means our product positioning in the market, we are not positioning ourselves as like a collection for rich people or toys for the rich people. We are targeting for the mass market that we want to make this affordable for everyone. So as we mentioned earlier, safety is the most important. Yeah, of course, I just demonstrate, how we design to keep it safe. But as a public transportation system, ask yourself, if today that our aircraft is outside, and then what are you willing to take this, to your destination? Would you want to try, right? So very importantly, the public acceptance of this new vehicle, right? So that's why that in China, we started from deploy our aircraft in the sightseeing places. So in many sightseeing places, our customer actually, after they evaluate our price and then economic unit, they found it so attractive, right? It's like they can make almost 50% pre-tax profit using our eVTOL as a new way of revenue. But on the other side, that more and more people come to those scenic spots, and they can try our eVTOL. And then in many cities, for example, on the riverside or the park in the city, we have lots of customers purchase our eVTOL to put it in those locations. So more and more people, maybe in the beginning only 10-20% of the people dare to try. Okay, but over the period of time, and then a lot of people walking around and say, "Oh, wow, that's great." People are sitting there and safely. Yeah, and we have a total redundancy design to make sure it's extremely safe. So more and more people will accept this as they dare to try. And I think give a matter of time, people get used to this. Yeah. So imagine in the future, you can use your app to let's say Ehang app, and we will have many takeoff landing spot near where you live. You can easily get one of the eVTOL to wait for you in the place near your place. So there's three key players to make this successful as a public transportation. Firstly, is the government. Imagine this is part of like subway services or bus services. You need a government support and help to identify the right locations, and then in Guangzhou's cases, in the city that our headquarters are, the government plan to first stage that put in 150 land of takeoff and landing spot in the various locations. Each location may be 2-3 meters apart. So eventually, if you go out the place you live, you can easily find the spot. Yes, that's an infrastructure building. And also we need to build the vertiport. And as a part of the urban air mobility system, you also need the government support to find the right spot, right location. Yeah, so in China's case, they will ask that the government will build or government will find a state-owned enterprise to build the infrastructure. So make all this ready. And then next, second player is the eVTOL provider. Yeah, companies such as us that get the certificate that well recognized by all parties. So we'll provide the eVTOL, right? And our design, if you can see in the main entrance, is the most compact design so far globally. Yeah, in the same space, we can put 4 of our eVTOL, whereas our peers can only put 1. So that compact design enables us to easily find the right location within the city. So that will be accessible to everyone. And the thirdly is the operator who operate the eVTOL, right? In many cases that in the tourist location, the tour place owner, they can operate. But as a public transportation, the government could be the operator or the state-owned enterprise that who put the money to buy the aircraft, right, can operate. And in many cases, we will work together with the local government to form a joint venture to operate our eVTOL as a part of our transportation system. So all these three together with a strong support from government and a gradual acceptance from the public. So we believe one day flying cars or flying taxi is no more a dream. It's not a dream. It's coming. And we welcome you to come to China. I believe sometime next year, you can easily find a place to pay your ticket and take our eVTOL on the sky. Thank you.
Very exciting. The future is almost here. It's amazing that this is actually going to be a part in the not so far off distant future either. So very interesting indeed. Alberto, over to you. Like we've spoken about connectivity, 5G, IoT. Let's talk a little bit about the role of AI within all of this.
Well, AI is a revolution. I think that we all have been exposed to AI, right? So, in fact, every day we are using AI because when we are unlocking our mobile device with the face, this is an AI algorithm. But anyway, AI is not new. It was started in 1950s, the 1950s. Okay, but in the last 10 years, AI has been a revolution because of two main things: computing capability and storage, right? So now I think that in the last 5 years, more or less, the computing vision with deep learning algorithms has been evolving a lot. Now we are in the generative AI with the large language models that, by the way, we have to be very proud in UAE because we have one of the best LLMs models, that is the Falcon model. But we are at the beginning of this journey, right? So this will evolve a lot. For mobility, there is a need of AI everywhere, in the drone and also in the platforms that are controlling the drones autonomously. Because if you think about the future, when we have thousands or hundreds of thousands of drones flying in the skies autonomously, so there will be a traffic air management system that will be using AI to control all of this, right? And there will be a digital twin of what is happening in the physical world in the sky that will be simulating what could happen and avoiding incidents in this way, okay? So this is exciting times, to be honest. I think that the trend right now is that the LLMs models are not good, still are not good in reasoning and also in maths. Okay, so complex math exercises, they are not so good. So there is a trend in the industry to address this. The next stage is going to be what is called general artificial information. This means that in some cases, or in most of the cases, the algorithms and the machines will be performing as well as the humans. And this is the AGP that is coming when the industry can solve the reasoning part and the math. That is coming.
It's all about problem solving, isn't it? Right, last question to Haiyan. Right, tell us a little bit more about the different parts of eVTOL that you look at when it comes to the industrial chain. How do you decide what you invest in, and what is exciting for you right now?
Sure. There are many companies on that industrial value chain. So I showed you already a slide. Many companies, the major ones, are listed out. You have components makers such as battery, electronic control system, etc., etc. You have software companies. You have vehicle makers. There are lots. As I commented, that only in Guangdong province, you have 22,000 companies. So how to pick up, right? First of all, we focus only on the leaders, and in 3 parts of the value chain. The most important one for us is vehicle makers, because they are leaders. And for the moment, the competition is very limited. In China, for example, you have only Ehang, which got three certifications. So we invest in Ehang, and Ehang is also listed in Nasdaq, and it's very easy to purchase also for retail investors. So I'm not calling for Ehang buy here, right? It's not my job. I'm banned for doing that. Just to say that investing in leading companies is very important. So first of all, it's the vehicles. Secondary part is about operation. Ehang's clients, they made their estimates. So if they buy Ehang drones, they can quickly make a profit within like 1 year or 1 year and a half, right, Conor? So margin could be very high. Operating margin could reach more than 20%. So this is a very good business. So nowadays, lots of companies and rich individuals, they are behind the Ehang to say, oh, sell me 50 pieces, 100 pieces. Everyone is fighting for their capacity production, So operation. The third is about infrastructure. The most important for me is not about hard infrastructure. China has tons of capacity for hard infrastructure. You can build up lots of vertiports, right? The roads, there's no problem. The most important for me is the software. So it's how can you build up a very strong unified traffic management? When you have tons of eVTOLs in the air, you need to control them, as Alberto mentioned, right? Also the system, the connection with the telecom system, how to avoid the accidents, and when you have thousands, 10,000 drones in the air. So you need to identify also good companies. And I think Ehang has also their internal unified traffic management system, which should be, explored more by Chinese government, also by other governments outside of China. So this is my view about where we should invest. Thank you, Laura.
What an incredible insight there. And there's so much ambition, still a lot to do. But I can't believe this is actually going to be our reality, very, very soon indeed. We have 2 minutes. I have 2 minutes on the clock, and I'd like to throw out to our audience. Do we have any brave audience members that would like to quickly ask a question? We have microphones over here. You can tell us who you are and where you're from. Anything that you want to know about the low altitude economy. We've spoken about investments, 5G, IoT, a leader in this field as well, Ehang. Any further questions? Yes, we have a gentleman here. Please be reminded we only have a minute to answer this, so let's try and stick to time. But yes, tell us who you are and where you're from, please.
Yeah, good morning. This is Antonio from DD. I have a question for Mr. Conor. If you can elaborate a little bit about your certification journey, because I believe that was something new for all certification body across the world. So that would be very interesting for us to understand a little bit more.
Just in 1 minute, if you can.
Right. Actually, it's been a long process. As you know, this is a passenger grade, and China Civil Aviation Authority is very, very strict. So we spent over 3 years' time since we apply and the various stage, because as China is very open-minded in terms of the willing to have this so-called autonomous type of vehicle. Whereas like FAA or EASA, their authorities still only they will accept the application for piloted eVTOL. Yeah, so for that, it's been a long process. There's been extensive discussion between Ehang and the authority in China on the civil aviation. So, and identify into hundreds of different items for testing. And of course, the general concept is still that, similar to like commercial aircraft, which they have a very mature system to go through a process for that. And how does that kind of fit into the autonomous driving. So, among all this process, we have dedicated almost majority of our staff in this process. And so after 3 years, finally, we got this, step by step. And so right now, we have actually somewhere in here, we have another model, which is like a VT30 that can fly. It's a fixed wing, propeller together with the fixed wing. That one can fly up to 300 kilometers. So our intention is that we will send that for type certificate application sometime later part of this year. Because of our first experience, so we anticipate our second model should go shorter. Yeah.
Very exciting.
If anyone of you want to get more detail, you're welcome to after me.
Yes, as soon as we finish this, if you have any further questions, I'm hoping our panelists might be here, stick around to answer those. Otherwise, please do make sure you head on over to their booths as well. Fascinating panel. Thank you so much, Conor, Haiyan, and Alberto. A brilliant session. Thank you.
Thank you, Aurora.